But there are a lot of shit companies.
all right? If you get cornered, bash him in the head. That seems to work out. Keep together, stay sharp, and follow me.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome in. It is Fuel, Unfiltered Automotive Truth. I am your host, Dennis Pitzenbarger. As always, we always want to take care of a little bit of business at first. We have to definitely thank, as always, the Podfather. The Podfather is our friend Joe over in Chicago. He is the one that made all of this possible in its many incarnations. We want to thank everyone that comes by and checks it out. Now, I'm going to go completely nerd. I got my teeth whitened. Can you tell? I got my teeth whitened today. Are they brighter? Are they? Because I'm telling you, I looked at the last show when I did with Kurt, and it looked like I was gurgling like corn on the cob. I'm just telling you, it looks way better now. I just have to say it. It's been a busy day. So anyway, I appreciate you for coming by. If you want to, make sure and check it out on YouTube. We will be live right now, and you can chime in and ask some questions. So we get right down to it. We also have to thank our lovely, now what is my pit boss, and the best and newest video audio producer in the entire world, Marina. How you doing today?
I'm great. Thank
She's always so quiet. You got to get that microphone up. You got to, no, nothing at all. Nothing. That's it. She's out. You can see her in the corner of the camera. But let's introduce our guest, the one and only, the man who's helped me get my car back down the road when it was broke, because he was the nice guy that walked up and goes, he didn't actually say there ain't no gas in it. He did say that at one point, but let's introduce our guest for today, Mr. Paul NERO. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, thank you.
It's we have had plenty of interaction. I appreciate you coming by today. I know that this is certainly not your first interview, but it's fun to have you by the studio in the house and check everything out. And we'll just do what we do. We'll just do what we do at the racetrack, except for we got shit on our heads now.
It's nice to do it local. We're actually sitting in front of someone instead of long distance.
Yes. I will get the Zoom thing going. I've been trying. I'm trying. I'm going to make it work. But I want to, as always, I start the show out correctly. I always offer, because now, George was nervous, and he had a couple shots. Kurt was nervous. This is not your first rodeo, but if you'd like, we do have the standard drink until you're comfortable drink. You can drink, I don't have any cups. You just got to go straight from the bottle, pirate style. How nervous you are. See, that's it. See, you're cool as a cucumber.
Just a little, so we'll just keep it right there.
There you go. Okay, in case you get nervous. I know you from the track. I know you because you've helped me at the track. I know you because even when I wasn't racing, I would video and do photography of you at the track. Your winning goes without question. You've had an amazing career drag racing, but I always want to start this stuff off with, I'm kind of loud. I got to, hold on. Okay, now I'm a little bit more calm.
I got you all excited.
I am. I mean, a lot of people don't realize he's actually not wearing pants. It's a little intimidating. I wish he would have worn them. That's why the camera's
Thank God there's a table.
I know. And get that away from my foot, by the way. I love to know the backstory. Because George talked about his family come from Ohio. Kurt talked about buying a car from Kibby over at Chevy when he was a kid. All of this started somewhere. And you started to show me a picture before the show. I was like, don't do that. Don't tell me anything. Where did all this craziness start for you, my man?
It was my late father. We lived in Tigard, Oregon. And I believe it was 1976. We drug I would have been 8, 9 years old. My brother he's a year older than me. He would have been 9, 10. We drug a 65 Falcon out of a wrecking yard on, I think it's 81st Street or 77th First in Portland. Missed a left front fender. Drug it out of there. My dad bled blue oval. Diehard Ford.
Okay. I still like him.
And we drug it out of there. We took it home, and he put the typical 289 with a little bit of 3-angle valve job heads on it.
Nice.
And we would race at Portland on Wednesday nights. We literally we had a Econoline van, an open trailer. We would tow there. My job was to take the battery out of the van to put in the car to start it. My brother would siphon the gas out of the van to put in the race car to race it. And my dad would run on Wednesday nights. And
You literally took the battery out of the tow vehicle.
We didn't have an extra battery. It was shoestring budget. And
epitomized.
If we went more than 2 or 3 rounds, we had to worry about how we were going to get home on gas. So if there was no money involved in that, it was touch and go to get back to Tigard.
So that was motivation to win.
Yeah.
I'd like to get home.
Yeah. If you're not going to make it home, or you're going to run out, maybe about TV Highway or some on the way home, you're going to have to hitch it the rest of the way, I guess.
We're going to have to drop the load.
It was great fun. It was the Hurd family. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Oh, yeah.
Jason, the dads, a guy named Mike Whitaker. They all were Ford guys. They all hung out together, and Wednesday night was where.
And how old were you then? You're like 9, 10?
Yeah, 7, 8, 9.
Okay.
And then we did that, and when I was in '84, we moved to Eugene.
Okay.
And at that time, the racing at that time, living in Eugene and racing is just not.
Is there any kind of drag race?
No,
I can think of there's some round tracks. You can make it to Willamette
Yeah,
if you go a little north.
There's Lebanon and Cottage Grove for the circle track guys, or the toilet bowl racers, what do you want to call them. And Eugene had Balboa. I think it was Balboa. It was called Thunderbird for a while, and then it died in the late 70s.
Okay.
So going to Woodburn to race was what we did. Then about 85, 86, we kind of just sold everything. And then I started monkeying around with a 67 Plymouth street car, race car. Ran like 1280s. I'd drive it to Woodburn.
Nice.
Run 1280s. I'd drive it home. And then I started getting the bug to get.
Now, was that the red car you were showing me some
was
pictures of? Okay, okay.
The big outing for me every year was the Mopar Nationals at Woodburn, which used to be it was a huge race.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mopar guys are fanatic about their stuff.
Oh, dude, they get the name Mopar Monkey.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, they're a little fanatic. They're a little crazy. I'm going to be weird. I'm going to bring you up on the microphone, though, because I don't have to. There you go. Just jump up or pull that thing out to you. There you go. You got a nice singing voice.
Right in your face.
There you go.
So I did that for a bunch of years, and then my dad and I decided to build a Fairmont race car.
Okay.
Build it together, and then we were Coos Bay. Coos Bay was 8th mile, super low key, super fun. They run a Saturday Sunday race. We used to go every 2 weeks to Coos Bay.
Well, that would be closer for you, wouldn't it?
It was about 2 hours from Eugene.
Okay.
But it was just low key. It was fun. Great group of guys. Association run. And we just take our Ford truck and our open trailer and run down to Coos Bay. And then I think 93, I built a Mustang chassis car, and I thought I was the shit. I bought a covered trailer and a 24-foot covered trailer, and I was big time then. And now if you show up without a covered trailer, everybody looks at you like you got a problem or who stole your trailer.
Wait a minute. I have a problem there because I don't have I'm working on the enclosed trailer.
It's a rare deal anymore, though. And honestly, the open trailer is kind of fun because you just load up and go really quick.
There is the advantage of that.
It does tend to rain in Oregon, so there's no place to hide from the rain. So.
I think at one point, one of the times we were down there when it was raining, I think my car was the cleanest car on property because I had wiped it down like 18 times.
It got a nature wash and wiped down. Yeah, so that's kind of where it started. Actually, we went in 1970. I think it was 76. Someone might correct me. We actually went to the first bracket finals as part of Team Woodburn.
Really?
In Seattle in 1976 was the first, and I think it was the.
Was that Dad driving though?
That was Dad driving. I started driving. So my brother was going to purchase the car from him, and then he just didn't really like driving it that much. And we were at Medford one time, and my dad was pissed off at driving like crap, and I just hopped in it and said, let's go. And I started racing the Falcon for a couple years.
Right on.
And then when we came back, he was kind of like the crew chief, and then I would drive it. And we did that for a bunch of years.
Well, no, that was still Coos Bay era.
That was actually Coos. We didn't go to Coos Bay at that time. That was more Medford occasionally in Woodburn. Coos Bay we started. It must have been 90, 91. We started doing the Coos Bay thing.
Okay.
And then through the early and mid 90s, it was good. They used to pay $500 a day to win down there, and there were 2 days and we first started going down there. Didn't have a concrete pad. It was asphalt. So you'd you'd like leave on the second light. By the time it spun enough, it would kind of catch and you'd go. It was pretty old school, but it was fun.
That's cool. When did it get like when was the transition from like the family fun? We'll call it the family fun sector. When did it get started serious? Because you said you built the Mustang, or not the Mustang, the Fairmont, the second car. When did it start getting like? When did you start dipping? Like, hey man, I might want to get serious about this.
So in 99, 2000, my dad and I said we wanted to start running some super street, some NHRA stuff. We'd not done it before. I always went to watch a race here and there. We were going to go to Seattle to the national event, and I was looking at prices, and it's like, it's not any more money to go race the damn race than it is to go watch it. So I thought I'd enter Super Street and won the national event in Seattle, my first shot out in the national event, just right off the get-go. Like, okay. And then I sold that Mustang actually that fall and bought my first dragster, which was Ford-powered at first.
Really?
And ran it in 2002. I won the Race of Champions bracket finals deal and went to Pomona for that deal.
Right on.
And then kind of did a little bit of this, a little bit. And about 09, 10, I decided I'm gonna get after it and run some NHRA stuff. And that's when it really started to.
And it was wasn't it originally lawn darts in the beginning? Wasn't that kind of your forte, or were you? Because I mean, when I met you, you had the red. Well, it's been in many different colors. You had the Corvette that had, I don't know what color it is this year. I think it's gone now, but it was red originally, and then I saw it as blue and etc. But I mean, was it dragsters originally, or
I went to dragsters in 2001. It's been dragsters. I can't remember how many I've had. 9, 10. I don't know. I had a couple different ones. I crashed one in 09 at Bremerton, and then bought another one, and I've had dragsters. And I just kind of wanted to do the super gas thing for something different to do.
Yeah.
And I bought one, and then crashed it and caught on fire at Woodburn and threw it in the garbage.
That is an infamous story surrounding that track, yes.
And then bought a dragster for a few months, and then I was kind of like pissed off at super gas. I wanted to prove that I could do that, so I sold the dragster, bought a Corvette, ran it, won a national event, did well with it, won a track championship at Woodburn, and then said, I'm going back to lawn darts. So then I bought one last fall, and that's what we have now.
Well, so yeah, but you're back on just dragsters again.
Yeah, Sandy's got one, and I have one.
Okay,
So we have two dragsters.
Over in the corner, Sandy is occupying these. I haven't got the third camera. Okay, or I work it out. Okay, hi over there. So that was the thing is I've since I've known you, not watched you, known you. It was the Corvette, and then you ran, and then I knew that you did the dragster thing, but I didn't. I went back and I do my homework. It's called the internet. You've had amazing success, and I do like the videos that when I see you, the ones in Pomona and the other ones. I love that you have this humility about you. I mean, anyone who wins is going to have some ego. I have no problem with that at all. I mean, listen, if I had as many Wallies sitting in my office as you do, I'd be pretty freaking stoked about my ability to drive a drag car. But I like the fact that I watch them with these videos and your humility while winning. You're like, I don't know, man. They just put the fucking car in front of me and I'm supposed to let go on time, and then the little light at the back end goes on. I like that idea. Do you feel like your mentality is that at the track? Does that make you? I mean, like me, I'm a ball of nerves a lot of the time, and I try to calm down. Then I'm a ball of nerves. Then I laugh and joke with people there. But then you seem to be very even keeled. Like are you as cool a cucumber when you're up to like, I don't know. I mean, thanks to Torx and this guy and that guy, and I let go of the button on time, and the little light goes on at the end, and I win. That's cool. Are you like that before you get in the car?
For the most part, so I used to have a nickname years ago, Negative NERO.
These are things I don't know.
My dad and I had some pretty good at track arguments, fights.
Okay.
Maybe throw a battery charger at each other once in a while or something, right? And then I actually had a friend that is a racer that would give me shit about it. So then I decided it was going to be Positive Paul, and
okay.
After kind of that, it's changed a lot. It just, I mean, what's there to get worked up about? I mean, you're not at work, you're racing.
That's a good point.
You can win on any day, you can lose on any day.
Yeah.
So if you just kind of stay kind of chill and relax. And I find it kind of, if I see someone that's wound up, I kind of use that against them a little bit,
Maybe hang out on the first bulb a little longer.
Maybe especially if they go on the second one a little quick. I might take a few extra clicks to go in, but just kind of, if you're just cool, they got to kind of think, well, this guy's not even nervous at all. He's not even worried about this. And it helps when you've won a little bit that it kind of, think about if you're running for your first wall and you're running for your 52nd wall, it's a little bit different.
I can only imagine what kind of drugs they will have to inject into me if I did make it to a Wally last round. I mean, I would be, in the times I have had success, the farther I go, I know like everybody's got their inner voice when they're in there, right? You're tucked in, you're ready to go, you've done your burnout, you're walking up there. When I've made it past a couple rounds, which is not all that many, not a whole bunch of times, I am literally yelling at myself internally, like, calm the fuck down. Because I'm so wound up to try to get on that. And then, of course, I go late or I go early. It's like, that's what I love diving into people's minds with when they've done a lot of it, because it's interesting to, I don't know, plug the USB cord in the back of your head and like record the data as you get up there. Like, is your heart rate going? I mean, I'm like, rabbit heart. I'm up there and I'm squeezed, they say don't, I'm white knuckling, even though I'm running in a straight line. I'm hanging on to it like I'm going to have to keep it in flight pattern when I need to just calm down. I mean, that's where are you in that? I mean, have you seen that evolve?
I mean, once you've done your burn, you backed up, there's really not a lot. You've already chose your game plan. It's not a lot you can do. You just got to try and, I think we always like a movie analogy. It's called clear the mechanism. You just kind of let it all go and breathe. Most people forget to breathe. I know some people even wear a mouthpiece because they bite so hard they put a mouthpiece in to keep them from biting.
I'm not that bad. I'm not there. I'm not there.
But I'm not going to tell you. I mean, if you had a voice recorder in my helmet at the end of the track sometimes, you'd hear some pretty funny shit come out of my mouth because I'm not going to say I don't scream loud enough that the NHRA guy might hear me go by thinking I'm on fire, but I'm just actually happy that the wind light came on. So
right on.
I'm like everybody, and then, take your breath and just got to go back and do it again.
I'd like to ask questions about what people's feelings are when they're at the track. It's like, do you feel that you get, and again, I go back to that excitement meter, maybe is the way I'm looking at it. Do you feel like you get more excited as you go deeper in rounds? Are they always the same? Do you get more, like, okay, I mean, listen, it's no secret. You're a good drag racer, dude. Everybody knows it, right? Okay, first round. Okay, we're out of first round. Second round, maybe a little tighter. Now we're into third, fourth, fifth round. We're starting to go towards semis and stuff like that. Do you feel more excited, or do you really have the ability to just, okay, the fifth round or semis or quarters or whatever is the same as going up for the first one? Where is there a difference between we're going to call you now Positive Paul and round one, and then Positive Paul in the semis?
I'm the opposite. First round, I hate first round. Hate it.
Okay.
NHRA racing, quite often you run around on Saturday night, and then you get to do another first round on Sunday. And sometimes at national events, you get a round or two on Friday, and then basically another first round on Saturday. It might be the second or third round. The farther I go, the less I care. It seems like it all just gets.
That's interesting because I've never raced at one of those events. I've watched them, I've been to them, but it's funny. I find that interesting because, yeah, it dawned on me as you're telling me that when you go to these big events, yeah, you might do times on Thursday, maybe one round on Friday, and then you might get to where you're racing, going like, okay, it's time to race till Saturday at 3 p.m. I mean, that doesn't mess with your head?
For some reason, that format to me works well. I don't know why. Some people hate it. They just hate that, but I don't mind it. It's all, when you're at a national event, for most people, and including myself, getting to Sunday is the goal. Sunday is where you run in front of the bigger crowds and there's more people around. You get to Sunday, it's kind of like, well, I'm here, but you got to still have that killer instinct to nail it down. But I get calmer as it goes on. First rounds, it feels like you lose first round, you accomplish nothing. You wasted your whole weekend. You've just done nothing. You win at least a round. You you've accomplished at least something. You've done better than half the people in your class by winning the first round. So I get calmer as it goes on.
I agree with that. My whole strategy last year was just get out of first round. I mean, if I can get out of first round, which I only did a few times. Well, I did okay. Last year I did better than others. But yeah, if I'm out of first round, it's like I did something. Now, if I get but that's what I was saying. Like me, if I was in that position, like me, I did 99% of the reason why I ran both classes is for the reps. Because even if I'm waiting for that, you can see me. If you ever walk by, I mean, I'm either one of two ways. Either I'm completely catatonic in my lay down chair, probably because she gave me a drink. I don't know. I wouldn't say that on the air. Wait, I did. That's okay.
You'll be the first one to do that. So
yeah, or I'm like, she's sitting in the chair wondering if I'm okay because I'm wandering. I've checked the air pressure 72 times. Yeah, there's oil. Yeah, no, there's gas in it. Well, no, let me recheck. Well, it's I'm just running around like a little nervous Nelly. I would not. I want to get there. One day I want to get there, but that to me would mess with my head. Because being on, I don't know, delay, whatever you want to call it, forever. That would kind of. For me, that would mess with my head.
The hardest thing, especially with a lot of people, I see first round, you got to get on the wheel first round. A lot of guys like, first round, they're a little bit lazy or they're just not into it. You gotta be able to, when you roll up the burnout box, you got to turn on the killer instinct first round or whatever. In a national event, you may have a 3 first round type feeling rounds where you got to be, you got to be on it right now or you're going home right now. So that's just having that killer instinct right off the get go is just something you have to figure out how to get, whether it's listening to music in your helmet or punching yourself in the face. I've seen all kinds of tactics of guys that try and get themselves psyched up and, just get ready to roll. And different people do it different ways, but
I used to kind of get, I have, why I ask a little bit about the, the positive Paul versus negative NERO thing is I used to get really angry in the car. And I found that was absolutely not going to work for me. I focused and on it is one thing, but angry was, I felt like it was like my internal way of getting my adrenaline going or something. I'm thinking about everything that pissed me off this week or whatever. And I'm trying to get psyched up, but I felt like the calmness has helped. So I would be, I don't know, good demeanor Dennis, and then you could be positive Paul. I like that. It does make a difference. And I can imagine it's tough when you're going to these big events. When you ran some of those big events, like Pomona, right? So, how many you were running, you won the super gas or super comp in that, right?
Top dragster at Pomona.
Or top dragster. There was another, that's right. Cause it was the kind of darkest car.
Yeah. Carbon car.
Yeah. How many cars are in that at that point? Is there,
in national events, 32 cars for top dragster. So they take 36 and 32 qualify. So it's just a straight 6-round race.
Well, I was wondering because I'm thinking of some of those events. Have you ever been to one of these events? You talk, there's stuff like lights out and stuff like that where there's 723 cars in the class. Have you been to some of those in that cars too?
So we were at Montgomery. Must have been 3 or 4 years ago for the $1 million race, and the 3 people I was traveling with, we won first round. We went and played 18 holes of golf between first and second round.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, they got 650 cars and buyback. So they got to run, if you're in the first part of the first round, they got to run all that and then run a whole buyback round, and then they'll start the second round. So we went and played golf between rounds.
That would mess with my head.
I think we ran first round at 9:15. The second round was 4:45 in the PM.
That would have messed with my head. That would have definitely messed with my head.
The hard part of those races, you got all this time in the first couple 3 rounds, then all of a sudden you get to the 4th or 5th round. It's as you're going through the lights, they're calling you back to stage lane. All of a sudden it goes from this super slow down to just
psychotic.
Gas and go, chill them and fill them and go. It's instant.
That would see. I got to get to those. I'll enjoy it. Maybe one day I can tag along. I can be I can be the water boy.
Anybody. The hardest thing with racing day is everybody's equipment is so good.
Yeah.
So a lot of it just comes down to your preparation, your outlook on how the round's going to go, and just concentration. Because if you go to a race like that, there's going to be 500 dragsters, and 475 of them are going to be top notch cars. There'll be a few this and that's, but everybody's got the same equipment, and the equipment's so good nowadays that the cars just, especially in 8th Mile back east, the track's good. Your car doesn't vary. Whatever you pretty well put on it to start with is what it's going to run the whole day.
Well, and I watch some of that. I watch those like live feeds, and it's like if you're losing with a 10-pack.
It almost becomes a practice tree race because everybody is on the number, so it's just who has the light.
Yeah.
And there are some really good drivers that can do some stuff at the finish line to force you into making a mistake, but for the most part, it's just cars are dead on.
Yeah, I'd love to go. I'm gonna go check out the we were talking about before well, I know it as the Mo Party at the Strip. Now it's the Muscle Car and Mopar Party at the Strip. I'm gonna go to that in March. It'll be a good time. It'll be kind of neat to go back to like the big format. And believe me, I love Woodburn. I absolutely have a blast there every weekend when I go. And I'm looking forward to that because that's more, and that is kind of a fun thing. I mean, they got a lot of cool classes there, but it's not like it's for the money, for a Wally kind of stuff. So there's a lot of, not everybody's so wound
it's
up.
It's like a car show with a drag race.
Yeah, it makes it fun. In those races, is there one that was more fun than the others? There had to be one. I mean, was it the first Wally? Was it the one what meant the most? Because I'm always curious. To me, I have my little milestones. I beat that guy. I beat this guy. I actually turned the wind light on. You've got a pretty good sizable catalog of these kind of events. Is there something that stood out more than others?
You know, what year was it? Jag Sports Nationals. Trying to think of the years. I was
by the way, before you go on that, I like the fact that you have the exact same Rolodex of our memories because we're big dumb animals.
Yeah.
Honey,
yeah.
What was that? What do I do? No,
I'll sometimes. What was I going to dial? I have to ask her. The Jag Sports Nationals. It came down to top dragster final round. I had a really good racer out of Colorado, Bradley Johnson, and I can't remember where I was in points. I wasn't in the points, but if he won that round, he wins the world championship. If I beat him, another racer, Anthony Bertozzi, wins the championship.
Oh, so you're the spoiler. So your best, I like that. All the Wallies and the best memory is okay, but go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the story.
No, so it's like one of those deals where I can't win the championship, but I can have a play in it.
There you go.
And it was a really good race. I set up really, really good and did my plan and turned the wind light. So it was pretty disappointing for him, obviously, but it was fun to be part of that. That was a fun race, and that kind of completed my personal win a national event at every track on the West Coast. Vegas was the only one I hadn't sealed the deal on. So that was a fun one.
Yeah. What do you look back and do you wonder like how in that? Well, I mean, let's not talk about the money we've all spent on cars. Was there a tipping point for you when you're looking at like, we talked about like all the way back to, Dad and Coos Bay and things like that. Was there a tipping point where you, thought, okay, how the hell did I get here? How the hell did I get to do this all the time?
Well, I first of all, I look at the racers at Woodburn and the smaller tracks that have the same car for the last 30 years. And I think, man, how much more, financially ahead are they than me? Because they can just go to Woodburn, enjoy their thing, and have a blast doing it. And I think of all the money that's been pissed away in crashed cars and broken motors and stuff. But it's kind of what we do. We just get back on the horse and go again. I personally have been really blessed with some really good sponsors over the years.
Right on.
Dan and Tammy at Rad Torque have supported me since I sold him a race car in 07 or 08, and they have helped me out ever since.
Right on.
That's been a big help, but
well, yeah, you look at any of the videos and you're always quick to mention that.
Yeah,
I mean, for good reason, obviously.
They've been fantastic to me. I mean, he's a big time supporter. He sponsors Dallas Glen, and he sponsors a lot of the tracks up in Canada. They're out of British Columbia.
Oh, okay.
Totally self-made company from the ground up, all done. They're amazing people. But yeah, just once you start getting in like that, it's a little bit hard to go back and, we still go. We've had fun. Stanley and I have been going to a lot of small tracks, and it's kind of, we went to Walla Walla last year, and we actually went to we actually took our cars to Madras last year, which is it's a fun little track. A little sketchy for super fast stuff, but it was fun. It was kind of like we used to race 25 years ago. Everybody was, having a barbecue every night, and there wasn't $500,000 toter homes with 20-year-old kids with 4 cars and everything they ever wanted to race, and no worry about money in the world. So it was kind of fun.
Would you, if you could go, I always like digging into this stuff. Would you, if you could go back and run, well, I mean, there's a, I don't know, my brain went like 7 different directions there at once. Everybody saw me mentally hiccup. Did you ever want to would you ever go back and say, okay, if I was going to do the one car, it would have been that car. It would have been that car with maybe not so much the trailer and the tow rig, but is there one car that you wish that you wouldn't have got rid of more than others? Like maybe like me, I don't know what the hell. Just for the record, I would have never sold the Corvette. That's me. I thought that car was so cool because I have the convertible, right? And I always even though Portland would never let me do it, I got to do it at Woodburn in that car. Running a convertible or a roadster, if you want to call it that, drag racing my convertible was the coolest fucking thing ever. I just thought that was, I mean, it wasn't even fast, but it was just cool as shit to do it with the top off. Now, obviously, everybody with a dragster does it every time, but I would have never sold the Corvette. I think you made a mass mistake on that one. I mean, that's just me. But is there a car that was, I don't know, the one that you wish you wouldn't have sold?
We'll have another one at some point. There will be another one in the family at some point.
Okay.
The main reason for selling that was logistics. We were lifting the dragster up, putting the Corvette underneath it, and we went to Texas for the All-Star race 2 years ago, and the roads are horrendous. And every time we hit a bump, our thought was, what is going on in that trailer? So 2 dragsters fit on the floor, the golf cart on the floor, everything fits on the floor. So at some point in time, we'll go back to one of those.
Yeah.
The Belvedere I was telling you about that I started with.
Yeah.
I would, if anybody's got a 66, 67 Satellite or Belvedere they want to get rid of, hit me
Well,
up,
there's a
'cause
guy.
I
There's
would-
a guy at the court. What's the place that I was not? Oh gosh, out on South End Road. There's a guy that's probably got 30, Mopar sitting in his back.
On the way here, we came up from Canby, and there's a guy that must have had 50 darts out in his field.
Oh yeah, it's the same guy. He's got a Super
Yeah.
Beast sitting out there.
I'm sure if you stop by, he's going to fix that up next week, and he won't sell it. So, or he was watching Barrett Jackson. It's worth $100,000 because it's got a Mopar on it.
I was gonna say it was probably the Barrett Jackson thing.
so-
I've always wondered what that guy's gonna do with those cars. I usually look at that and go, "That's what my yard would look like if I had property."
Yeah, as much as I want that car back, Sandy wants her dad's 7-Up.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that.
It's that car would mean a lot to me if I could get it back. That was my high school car, and I sold it like a dumbass back in when I had a job, and that was my transportation to work every day, and I wasn't smart enough to buy another car, so I sold it to buy a more economy type. I mean, I thought I was cool. I bought a Ford Escort GT, and it was.
I cannot. Oh my
shit.
God! Hold on. I just got a. I got a picture.
It was bad.
All the things I've seen you drive.
So it's so funny.
You look like a monkey fucking a football in that thing. Come on, dude.
I even called Flowmaster because they were giving me some help on stuff and say, "Hey, you got an exhaust system for this thing?" And they sent me this exhaust system. It sounded like a bunch of pissed off gay bees. It was fucking horrible. I ended up selling it, but you could hear you coming from 6 blocks away because it was just horrible sounding.
All 106 horsepower it might have had.
And maybe on a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up. I ended up trading. I sold or traded in for a Mustang GT at the time. That was a much better choice. But yeah, it was. That was a Belvedere to an Escort.
Your mission, by the way, since she is off, your mission now. I want a picture. Somewhere there's a picture.
There are pictures.
I want a picture of you in a Ford Escort GT.
There was actually one on Marketplace the other day for sale. was even white.
Oh, was it white? Did it have the blue racing stripe then?
No, I might even had you remember the sponge stripes that everybody used to do? It had like a teal sponge stripe. I mean, it was.
Oh my God.
It was totally off the politically correct chart.
Was there a cassette of some random like metal band in that thing, or
there might have been some? Yeah, there was probably some Def Leppard or Bon Jovi or so. Here's a good metal band story for you.
Okay.
I'm at Las Vegas in the pits, working on my car. It's Saturday morning, Friday morning business, and I'm sitting there and just working on a car. And this dude walks up behind me. And he's pretty mangy looking, right? And I'm kind of into what I'm doing. He says, "Hey, can you give me a ride over to my buddy's pit spot?" And I'm like, "Nah, whatever, right?" So, and he walks off, right, and I didn't think much of it. And then later this afternoon, I was driving around. It was actually, and I got to think of his name now.
What band?
Is it Stephen Piercy, Rat?
Yeah.
It was the lead singer from Rat.
Get the hell out of
And
there.
he was going over to Clay Milliken's pit because they had sponsored his car, and I blew the guy off and told him I wouldn't give him a ride. Like, fuck. Really? I mean, that was, I mean, just, I don't know. It's like, I guess never know who you're talking to, right? Like,
I would have thought instantly in my head, I was thinking of the one-liners. What, buddy? Are we going to go round and round until we talk about this?
there you go.
Sorry.
But-
that was the worst
But I mean,
ever.
But it's like, yeah, I just totally blew him off.
Well, you never know. I mean, listen, oh gosh, what's his name? That happened to me at SEMA with, I think I don't know what his real name is, Ricky Rackett or whatever from Poison.
yeah.
And he was over BSing with, the Ford Drift guy. My God, I can't believe my name.
Tanner Faust.
No, not Tanner.
Block. Ken Block.
Has his own Mustang brand. My gosh, what is my brain? I need more blueberries. Anyway,
Blueberries.
to make my brain work. Supposed to make your memory better.
Haven't heard that one.
Well, it's because we don't eat enough blueberries. Someone told you last week.
Because I hate them. Maybe that's why. Blueberries and tomatoes are not going to happen.
I totally didn't know who the guy was. And, I'm sitting there and I'm like, and I remember walking over there and I was like, who's that guy? And he's like, dude, he's like in Poison. And of course, at the era, I'm like, of course, I think I'm a jerk, But anyway, I think what we're going to do, we're going to play music for a second. We'll have a little potty break. We'll go to break here in a second. I'll play some music. We'll come back. If you want to ask Paul some questions, if you want to dig into his brain, if you're on the YouTube channel, now when it's live, this is your opportunity. But we're going to go to a little bit of a break now. We're going to go play some music, if I can make it work. There it is. So we'll be back in just a couple seconds. It helps when you turn on the microphones. My producer was supposed to help me with that. Fail. No, I'm kidding. She's doing awesome. Hey, listen, it is Fuel. We took a little break. We're talking to Paul NERO here. Positive Paul NERO. I want to talk a little bit about your involvement with other drivers. Now, you have helped me out. You have given me words of advice. But I don't, we do run the same class, and then I'm either doubling down or you're doubling down. So it's not like we have time to just BS at the track. We got business to take care of. And well, you turn on more of that business, the little white light at the end of the track than I do. But I want to talk a little bit about your involvement with other drivers. You know, I know that you've had an opportunity to help Sandy become a great drag racer. You've had an opportunity to help some other people become a great drag racer. How do you approach that? Because I mean, like I always said that I was very, very lucky to meet Frank Hawley, and I met him before, and I went to his school. The funny part about that is I got more out of the classroom stuff about having your head right than the cool part about driving his cars. But how do you approach that when people go, because I like that even when we were on break, you're like, I don't want to talk about myself, but I mean, I'm going to make you. The ability to teach someone a finite skill is hard. You have to approach it with the ability to know how they learn and the way to then transfer the information you're trying to get into their noggin in a way that they'll understand it. So that's kind of hard. So if someone walks up to you, I'll be the guy. Paul, teach me how to be a better drag racer. Or teach me how to be a drag racer. How do you approach that? Like, what's the methodology behind that?
The method is for me is pick your path, pick who you're going to listen to. We call them in the business ask-holes, where they ask everybody.
Ask-holes?
Ask-holes. They ask everybody.
I like that. Did you write that down for me there? I need to remember that.
And they just ask everybody a bunch of information, and they don't, one guy's theory on racing doesn't match another guy. So if you're asking all these people, it's just too muddied up. You just pick your guy, whether it's this is Bracket Racing Elite, or in the old days it was Scotty Richardson. Pick your guy and just stay with their thing, and then don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
It's literally a starting line and a finish line. One of the things that stuck with me a long time ago was I went to Scotty Richardson had a driving school, and he would travel on the tracks, and I went to one in Tucson. A buddy wanted to go, and I thought, I'm just going to go just to see what the hell it's like. And you got 20 people in this classroom, and the first thing he said in that class was, if your car won't repeat within 200 all day long, anything I teach you is not going to work. You need to go work on your car. So
that's kind of that was right out of the gate.
Yeah. And
okay.
He'll try and spot drop, hold, whatever. But if your car won't repeat, it's pointless to even worry about it. You got to work on your car first. You got to bring a quality tool to the party to start with. And then at that point, if your car's good, then you can just dissect into small pieces and just simplify it, Work on the starting line. Everybody now is like, I want to go down there and drop at the mile an hour kind of stuff. Well, if you're all over the place on the starting line, go ahead and go down there and drop the 3 over with a 40 light and tell me how it works. It's not going to work. So simplify. Make it very simple.
Okay.
Don't over advance yourself. Just forces you into mistakes.
Well, I guess my interpretation then, as I said, you look at how people teach and learn. My interpretation, that would be the theory of KISS then, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Yep. I hate to admit it. I'm very transparent. Everybody knows that. I'm kind of an asshole sometimes. I admit that because sometimes I look at it. I know where you're coming from. Like, okay, learn. If you want to learn, if you're going to go to, whether it be a class, a learning, whatever, you're going to follow a guy, how he does it. That makes complete and utter total sense to me. If I'm going to mimic what that guy does, if he wins, I'm going to mimic what he does. You can bullshit with that guy and bullshit with that guy, but do what he does, right? Sometimes I try to draw little tidbits about how people do it. That's, to me, different than what you just said, because I kind of want to look at it like I can learn little things from people, like how do you do this, how do you do that? But then, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, if you're going to have a game plan, a battle plan, whatever you want to call it, it makes sense to kind of fall in line, if that's the way to put it. If the guy's in the lead, if he's the team leader, then you're going to be in the back. You'll have your hand on his shoulder, and we're going to battle. So it makes sense to look at it that way.
Yeah, that's why I always approached it. When I started getting more serious about racing, there was a family up in the Northwest, the Morris family, and their stuff, they hung around with the Learcamp family as well. Great racers, been racing a long time, and their stuff was always really consistent, and I literally would go over there and every race we went to, okay, they got this regulator, they got this, that, and I would just copy everything they got because their shit was just better than everybody else. So I just started copying everything they got, and then my stuff started to get really good at that point too. They were still secretive about converters and stuff, but every once in a while they'd slip up and I get a little tidbit here or there. But and just the hardest race, I tell Sandy this too. The hardest race for someone that is holding, or like in pro bracket, it looks like pro bracket guys at Woodburn hold a lot.
It's nothing new. I'll leave it at that.
The hardest race for them is the guy that's 10 on the tree and on the number.
Yeah.
You just don't give them a window to get in. Don't make any horrible passes, but don't be a hero all the time. Kind of when they line up against you, know that I'm going to have to be a 20 pack or better to beat him.
Yeah.
If, there's times when he's going to be 20 pack and they're going to beat me. But if you slip up and go 22 pack, I'm going to be right there to take it from you. Play the odds, I guess.
I have found my personal experience now that I've got a couple years under my belt of actually knowing what I'm doing, or at least I think I know what I'm doing. I feel like I see. Well, I mean, when Kurt was on the show, I've never actually raced around against Kurt, right? And we were talking about that, about who holds, I mean, everybody can do their own program. I'm not saying any of that is wrong. Do whatever makes you, if you think it's going to turn on a win light. And for a lot of guys, I've seen them turn on a lot of them. But it seems like for me, I have to now like have a checklist. It's like an old Benjamin Franklin close. Okay, I know that guy does it this way and that guy does it this way. So I find it interesting. Super Pro for me, dude, I'm actually probably doing what I should do, which is I just put a number on the car that I think it'll run and try to get a good light. Because in the 8th mile, all I'm trying to do is either wait for something like you to go by me at 60 more miles an hour, or I got guys, oh God, what was the guy's name? Or the guy that dialed in, I can't remember his name, I wish I could describe him, who dialed in the exact same as me as my 3rd gen Camaro. And I didn't realize, and he just told me that was my lesson for the day. And it was fine. I mean, we were having fun.
Was that Jeremy? Was he in a dragster?
Yeah.
That was Jeremy, I'm sure.
It was Jeremy. Thank you. Thank you for kicking my name.
I've seen him do that. Jeremy and I are good buddies. We've raced a lot together. And he does that once in a while just to be funny.
Yeah, he did it to me, and I didn't realize. And because I was asking him, I was over there. I was talking to Cooper and those other guys, and I was talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, man, this is cool. I want to." And I actually, the thing is I had won a round in Super Pro, so now I'm in 2nd round of Super Pro. That's like a big deal for a guy like me. And we get up there, and I'm racing against him, and he's like, "Oh, well, he was cool about it. Like, hey, here's this stuff and this." Well, I don't even notice to look, and I know he's in like this big block dragster. And about the time I push down the trans brake button, I glance over at the other board, and I'm like, "Why has he got 630 on that?" Oh, and it was over.
And you just heard him brap, brap.
Oh yeah, I'm just of course
you wanted to turn left at about 300 feet and say, "Can we do this again?"
I kind of wanted to, because I can't, and of course I can't see the car. I'm like, I mean, it's not like I can like look over the window, look out. Oh, there's some wheels over there. I thought that was funny, but it's interesting how you catch those little tidbits along the way.
I met Jeremy, and I couldn't even tell you what year this was. I think it's when I had the Mustang. He came to Woodburn in a Toyota truck with a rear engine dragster loaded backwards in the truck with a red flag on the front of it hanging out the back.
That, what I have interacted with him does not surprise me at all.
He doesn't get tools. No, he's not allowed to touch tools.
Oh, does he? Did they disappear? Or they break?
No, he just doesn't. He's not allowed to touch tools. That's enough. But yeah, he had a red flag and half the front of his dragster towing it to Woodburn in the back of a Toyota truck.
I would see the logic.
That's some diehard racing right there.
That is, yeah. Now I would say my thing would be like us and poor Marina, me making her, camp in a tent in the rain when we're like using my pillow to sop it up like like paper towels. That's I've done with that.
But that's what makes it fun though.
The story was fun. The story is fun. Sleeping in the mud puddle wasn't.
I mean, when you're towing to Vegas in the middle of the spring and you pull over a rest area and it's 32 degrees out, you're sleeping in your trailer, hoping that you actually roll over and wake up because it's so cold out. That's what makes the stories.
That is true. That is true. Speaking of stories, winning a national championship. I know that, and I appreciate it. I'm the biggest self-deprecating person you've ever met in your life. I've done a lot of cool shit. I could talk about it all day long. I want to know about winning a national championship because there is only a select category of people that have been fortunate to win Wallies. There's a smaller category, and I'm not talking about the big pro guy. There's like, the big three, whatever you're talking. John Force, like, has got one holding toilet paper in his bathroom. He probably does. Anyway, winning a national championship, I want to know about it, and I need to shut up. But then I also want to know how you recoil to ever try to repeat that. So I want you to take me through that experience.
So for me, it was so in 2017, I finished number 2 in the world by a round. I was one round, and in top drag, so you can go to 5 national events, claim your best 3. And I only went to 4. I didn't go to my 5th. So I could have improved a little bit, but I finished 2 and I got that was your chance, right? That was your chance. Then I come back in 18 and end up winning it.
Yeah, whoa. I'm going to stop you at 17. I'm diving back more into 17 before we go to the new one. When that happened, did you know at the moment, was it like at a track or was it a points thing, or how did you, like, you're obviously, you're in the running for it.
Well, the one thing about points nationally anymore is it pretty well pisses away a lot of afternoons watching the internet. either if it's on YouTube or live timing, you end up just watching. I can't imagine 25 years ago when you didn't know what the points were doing till Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
Yeah, waiting for the newspaper.
The guy to deliver
the national dragster that came out once a month
when it actually had information in it that was worth anything. Now it's just instant. So you watch online and you get as you do it more, you kind of get the points tallied up and you just, when they win that round, it's like, especially if you're tapped out, then you're in the clubhouse with your points and you can't.
Well, what was in your head? I mean, were you Ricky Bobby? Where you're like first is, if you ain't first, you're last, because that would have been a tough one. I can imagine that it would have been tough. Hey, second in the world. Everybody else is fucking behind you. You did awesome. But in the back of your head, you had to be thinking, I got to get there.
Honestly, it's like, second's good. I think the year before I was 6th, so I improved on that. And then, you kind of think about it. Then the next year, I started out with, I think I was semis at Pomona, and then I won the divisional and the national event back-to-back at Phoenix.
So you got momentum now.
Yeah, and that was like, okay, I gotta keep going here. I gotta let this rip, and kind of gives you a little bit of fire to go do it, and it worked out well. It was a lot of fun. That one was fun because I was at Vegas, and the guy that could catch me was at Vegas. So I lost early, and he had made a couple rounds. I think he had to win or runner up, and I was actually there to watch him lose.
So you had gone out, and now you're watching the one guy, like, the farther he goes, the closer he gets to you. Oh, that would have been. I don't know what.
That's pretty rough when you're sitting there watching them, and of course, the round someone red lights or someone, does something stupid. And you're
he gets the freebie, and you're like, oh.
Guy takes 4 carlings down there and doesn't ever look and breaks out or something silly, but you're just watching it it's either been a slow celebration or a slow death, one or the other. But now it's you just feel fortunate that you have the chance to even be close to doing it. The West Coast is a little bit harder. We have to travel a little bit more.
Yeah.
The advantages out here is we don't have to go 620s to qualify. We can kind of be slower and get away with it. So that's the huge advantage of the West Coast is you don't have to have a Keith Black blown Hemi or Pro Charger or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me that would be. It would be frustrating. I don't know. I don't know why the word frustrating came out first. I guess I look at it like you always want to improve. Obviously I've been very fortunate to improve where I'm going. It's by little chunks and I'm going in the right direction. But you go from 17 and you're runner up, if I'm right. 18, you win it. At 18, when you're in Vegas, when he goes out, at that moment it's done. And I think that's the picture I grabbed and I put it on the thing. Is that you were in the middle and the 2 guys on either side?
That was actually Pomona. That was actually the winter summer nationals at Pomona's.
Okay.
That was the one I think we had COVID pushed it to the summer. Or, is that how it worked? Yeah.
COVID racing.
It was the July winter nationals in Pomona.
Anyway, sorry to go on the picture there. When you win that, I mean, is it Is it relief? Is it we made it? Is it like, let's have a drink? Do we party? What?
A little bit of that. I'm not. Yeah, for me it was kind of like in top drag. So there's a lot of money, and I'm running my car out of the time I lived in Eugene. I had a 12-foot by 25-foot dragster garage behind my house with my dually truck. It was kind of just a little bit of, very rewarding that I'm work a 40-hour week, do every side job I can to afford to do it. It was kind of rewarding to do that where, there's a lot of guys that run the class. If they break a car, they got 2 more at home to go get, or they have a fast car when they need it and a slow car when they need it. And
wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it would be nice. I was born in the wrong family or something.
Yeah, Pittsburgher is not at Indy.
They got guys that drive the rigs to the track for them and clean them. And
that I'm not saying that there's a reason why there's Powerball tickets in my wallet that I wouldn't do that, but I mean it is. I personally would take more. For me, I would be more proud of doing it, if you want to use the words old school, than to have the toter guys. So when are the trailers going to be there so I can book my flight? I mean, if you've made it there, that's great. I all the power to you. But I have not seen a direct correlation between winning and money in drag racing. Like there is when I ran circle track, there was an absolute scale of money to winning. You will never convince me otherwise. I raced with a guy on this really cool little, when I was racing the late model stuff, he would tell me that it's the car, and I would say, well, then why don't we swap cars and we'll see how good you do? Because when I go down the back chute and you go by me on pure power, it's not the freaking car. Drag racing, I would say that there is going to be a scale for good equipment, but you're still putting a number on the car and letting go of a button.
Correct. I mean, there is, I think money makes things easier. And if you have a problem, there are resources to fix it, or spare cars helps you out a lot. Where if I break something, we got to race back-to-back weeks, and I break something, well, I got to find a way to fix it.
Yeah.
But
that's not the racing. You see what I mean? That's
once you're on the track, the money, Yeah, to get good equipment, if you're resourceful, it doesn't cost. The B equipment that you can buy is just as good as the A equipment now. There's just so much stuff out there, especially for dragsters, that you can converters and carburetors and stuff. Now, it does help to have a better carburetor, and stuff like that. But
sure,
you can still compete. I mean, you were talking about the World Championship, and I mean, honestly, I was more nervous. So I'd raced at Woodburn points off and on, never really committed to it. And in 23, I decided I want to run points at Woodburn committed. I was more nervous about trying to win the championship there than I was World Championship. And I'll be honest with you, that's a tough deal. I mean, there's a lot of track conditions there. They're very challenging at Woodburn, and there's a lot of racers, and people are a little more willing to just let it rip against you. So that I found that was more challenging and more almost just as satisfying as winning the big thing, is winning a track championship at Woodburn. It's tough. There's a lot of good racers there, and there's a lot of racers there that's all they do. They're there Friday for the spaghetti drags. They're there Saturday for the whatever you want to call Saturday's class, and then so by the time Sunday runs around, they might have 10 passes down the track. Yeah, for God's sakes, they better be good by that time. So you show up and get 2 hits and go, and they have an advantage on you. So it's tough there. Yeah,
well, that's why I did the 2 classes. I mean, I watched some of those guys on there that there's a handful of guys that run, especially pro, and then they cross over the ditch. And you start doing the math, and they've made 400 passes in the year, and I'm like, wait a minute, I came out here 12 times, and I averaged 3 or 4 a day, and
they freshen up their motor about July because they're running Portland 2 classes, Woodburn.
And
it's repetition. I mean, if you got the resources and the horse to do it, why not? And the more times you look at that bulb, the more times you see it,
Absolutely.
If you're paying attention and you're logging it in your back of your head logbook, you've got to get better.
Yeah. I mean, if you were going to give someone, this is kind of like this will be the into the mind of
there's not much there, so go ahead.
If somebody said, hey man, guy walks up to you. Now, first you identify if he's a rock star, and you do or do not give him a ride on the golf cart.
Yeah.
If a guy walks up to you and says, I want to drag race, I want to do what you do, what do you tell him?
Stay within your means.
Okay.
If you've got money and you've got the resources to go 11 seconds, then do that. You're better off having a 10-second car you can run 20 times a year than a car that runs 7 seconds you can run 5 times a year.
Okay.
Just take your time. I see a lot of people, they come in and instantly have a 740 dragster. They're behind the car. They're just, everything is great when everything's working right, but when something goes wrong, what's your experience? Just, if you can afford to run a car 20 times a year, I'd get that car rather than something that you go out a couple times a year and go fast in.
Okay. That's solid advice. I stepped into more car than I should have had. I mean, I've done other stuff and I have car experience, but jumping into that pro car was probably something I shouldn't have done. I wish I can look back now. I wish I would have spent time taking like maybe the black convertible down and running Sportsman and getting more adjusted with like, I just went down there and fuck you, just like, what do you do? What do I do? Oh, you go over there, and then you do a burnout, then you go over here, and then you go there. Okay.
But you got a good car to start. That's a big help.
That did help.
I mean, you do see a lot of guys that come out and you feel sorry for them because they buy a car from someone or whatnot, and they're already in trouble because the car is just not, they're trying to learn how to drive and fight in the car at the same time. That's just very difficult to do.
1,000%. I could give my Camaro to at least a third of the drivers in pro, and all of them would do better in the years of point in their rounds for the whole year. I know that for a fact. So I am very lucky. I mean, the car will do the same thing if I ask it to do. It's the only thing wrong with it is the guy that straps into it. I mean, and I'm getting better. But anyway, I like that mentality. I think that, it's kind of like when I always said that to people that wanted to ride motorcycles. It's like, I love my one friend, and I'm going to let him remain nameless. First bike he ever bought was like a 750 Interceptor. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And as you imagine, it was only a matter of time before he was like, yeah, look at this crazy road rash I got. Admittedly, the lady pulled out in front of him, and it wasn't his fault. I probably would have low-sided the thing too. But like, get a dirt bike. Go fall in the dirt for a little while. Same thing with drag racing. Like, it was a situational with life, but so I got lucky to get the car. But I know that I would have been ahead of the game up here in my head if I would have just got, if I would have just taken my Silverado SS down there and ran Sportsman for 5 years before I got into the other car.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're driving your street car or what. It's just you just staging the car, the different conditions, the light on the tree, just things that the more you see it, the more you put it in your logbook, and you can go back on it and make it, you can apply it to the situation you're in.
Yeah. What's the plan for 25? What are you ready? Are you like me where I still need to go buy parts? What's the plan? I mean, what is the plan for 25?
We are 80% ready with my car.
Okay.
Sandy's car is ready to roll right now. We actually took it to Reading late in the year last year, and it was fantastic. So she's ready to go. I'm redone a bunch of stuff in my car. I'm going to make an effort for Top Dragster divisional stuff this year.
Okay. We're
going to plan on hitting 8 divisionals, see if we can acquire some points in that. I'm going to run our backup motor the first part of the year. I bought a 9-degree motor at the end of last year from a guy that was not exactly the most honest guy in the world, and it came apart in about 10 passes. So
oops.
It's at the heads.
I think you posted a picture of that on Facebook or something. It was
I wasn't mentioning names. I was being polite, but yeah, the heads are at MBE and the block and stuff are getting done. So it'll be done mid part of the year. I'm going to take my time getting it done. But yeah, it was a pretty good hit in the pocketbook to spend a bunch of money on a motor and have it last about 12 passes before it went south.
I can only imagine, because your stuff is far more expensive than mine. And when that little small block let go, I was out of racing for 1.5 years. I mean, I had to take a break, so I know the pain. Before we let you go, one of the things I've seen you do every single race and I do commend you for not doing the Ricky Bobby. You have good Ricky Bobby hand control. Give a little shout out to the people that make it necessary for you, because I know you are religious about it, and it means a lot to you. So hit that, and then we'll probably just kind of call it a day.
Well, Sandy over there in the corner, that's the biggest supporter and the biggest help. Or if I'm in the garage, she's in the garage. Running 2 cars is challenging, but not when you have 2 people. It makes it a lot.
We're gonna have you just come over and stick your face next to him. At least, I mean, we've been talking. No, she not. See,
No. Behind the
she's
scenes.
the same way.
So, Rad Torque Systems, Dan and Tammy at Rad Torque. I mean, super people. If you ever run into them, just go up and shake their hand. And they're just supporters of drag racing.
That's cool.
You know, it's not just supporting me or they support Dallas. They just really like drag racing, and they really invest a lot of time and resources into it. I've been with Hoosier Tire for a ton of years. Robert Perryman at Hoosier West.
Yeah.
Great service at most of the races we go to. So if you need something done with them, they're great guys. And then Fuel Factory, they supply our fuel. They're a new fuel company. Mark Wesler used to work for VP.
Oh,
And then he went out on his own and started this venture. And we're in the process. I should know within the next couple of weeks. We believe we've got a vendor set up for the Seattle area that will stock the fuel.
that's
That's
cool.
been our challenge so far, is especially in Oregon. It's not exactly easy to store 50 barrels of fuel before someone gets pissy in Oregon. So
Yeah, that's the truth. Well, you know.
so that's they good fuel, every kind of fuel you could want, everything from stock class eliminator stuff to comp eliminator, methanol, E85. It's priced very. It's not the cheapest, but it's not VP. VP is very expensive.
Yeah.
Very comparable in quality. So look at Fuel Factory stuff. Yeah, those are the main people that support us. Just you know, I get lots of help from my buddy Mo. Moved to Arizona. He's always been my mechanical backup guy. He's taught me a lot about the mechanical part to where I can usually finger fuck around with getting something fixed somewhere by, you know, but I'll call him in a pinch of, you know, rocker or whatever. And what I do here, he's been really a big help in getting mechanical done.
Right on.
But yeah, just a lot of I mean, people. There's always people to help. That's one thing about the racing community is most of the time if you're in a pinch, someone will, hey, bring your car over here, or let's put this in the lathe over here or something. It's a very tight community, so it's amazing how many people, and it's a lot of funny how you run into people that you didn't think you meet them, and then it's like, man, you got a lot of resources. I might need to get to know you better. You got a lot of ways to get shit done. So.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, it's how I knew. I mean, we had, hi, whatever. And I think that when I finally got to actually talk to you and not just kind of go wander over by your car and say, nice car, dude, was a perfect example of that. I think it was Friday. We were testing. I get up there and the car, and I'm like, I got it half torn apart. And
I did ask you if you had fuel in it, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
That's the first question, because you'd be amazed at how many people have.
It did have fuel in it. The problem was the thing that makes the fuel go from where the fuel is to where the fuel's supposed to go was the problem.
It was not working. I remember that. Yeah.
And that's a perfect example of that, because you walked over and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I got this. I got some parts. He goes, push it over by my trailer. I got some tools. Start running around the place and find out who's got a fuel pump we can put in it. And it was nice. That's the kind of stuff that I do love about the track. I mean,
you go up the tower and see a fuel pump, and within 20 minutes, there's 9 fuel pumps up there. It's quite amazing sometimes. Like, wow.
How many people have an extra fuel pump? But no, it was exactly the perfect example of that.
Now,
Go ahead.
Sorry. The other thing for 2025 that Sandy and I took over the Super Quick series.
Oh yeah. I want to talk about that.
It's Fincher Fab Super Quick.
Okay.
And we're going to do 2 in June in Walla Walla, 2 in Bremerton in August, and then 2 at Renegade in the first week of October. And they're $100. They're $530 and quicker is your ET. So you have to dial $530 and quicker.
Okay.
And then they're $3,000 to win a day, and that's guaranteed. And it's a $100 entry fee, and then we do have a $50 buyback for first round losers.
Okay.
And we're going to have a very lucrative. Haven't got the exact numbers finalized yet, but it's going to be about somewhere between $25,000 and $3,000 to win the championship for the year. It will pay down several spots. We've got Hoosier Tire sponsoring an MVP of the weekend, so whoever goes the most rounds for the weekend gets a little bonus prize. Sandy has put together a last woman standing, so the last woman in each race gets a little cash kickback, and we're kind of promoting it as a racer, a series for racers.
Right on.
Almost all the sponsors that we have are racers. They're supporting the series.
Okay.
So we're hoping. We were getting last year. They were 2,000 last year. I think we got 54 cars at Walla Walla, 40 some at Bremerton, and Woodburn was down a bunch. But we're hoping to have 45 to 55 cars.
That's a solid. I mean, that's still a solid field, man.
And
that's a solid field.
It's great racing. It's tight. The cars are all fast. Door cars combined with dragsters. It's just, if you can dial 530 or faster, you want to run your go-kart and it'll go 530 faster, bring it.
I'll go 530, but I need one of those things you got extra in the garage.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
We might find another weak link in your car at that point, but we can try it.
Yeah, if I put the motor in my car to go 530, trust me, there's a few other things behind that might
But
break.
it should be a good series. I mean, go look at Fincher Fab online. He's the main sponsor. He does headers and fabrication stuff. Super nice guy. Really, really fortunate that he's sponsoring the series. It's a pretty good monetary commitment from him.
That's cool.
But yeah, really nice guys.
Well, where do we find information on that? Is there a website, Facebook? How do we do, or is that stuff that we'll maybe post with this as it gets recorded?
Yeah, we'll probably give you. We're just finishing up some details on it.
Okay.
It's hard to get answers and details through January. Now people are starting to kind of get back in their flow of life, but I'll send you the link to it.
Okay.
When we get it up, you can post it.
Well, when we get this, because this is live now, so when we record it, by the time, once you have that, I'll attach that to all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming by. We were going to work on the car a little bit, but it's too freaking late, and it's Saturday now. I bounced you all over the weekend.
We got time. When's your first race? When are you going out first?
I think there's a test and tune in late March. I think it's the 30. It's like the fourth weekend. I got time. To figure out my one little stupid wire thing, because I will be over picking your brain about how to set up.
I offered to come do that for you, and you said you'd do it yourself. What happened there?
Anyway, so it's been a great show.
How's that bus?
Shut up, Paul. No, I'm just kidding. It was, I thought I had it, okay? One wire. I know that's what it is. I believe I have, we're not going into this.
Yeah, I've had people bring their cars to our shop and say, it's just this one thing I want done. And then the next thing you know, we got a ball of wire on the floor. Like,
it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I did get the car rewired back a little while ago. So all the wiring's clean. Just the stuff I touch is fucked up.
The wire up here by the delay box is green, but the wire by the trans brake is blue. Where does it change at some point?
Has he already looked under the car?
Has
he been in the garage when I'm not here?
It's not that uncommon.
We're not going to talk about that now. It's been a great show. They forgot about. No, I'm kidding. Yes, we will get that fixed. I know. Now you're making me not be able to believe to say that. I believe that I got the wire on one wrong side of where it's supposed to go. Because why are we doing this now? It doesn't matter. When I push the trans brake, the box, everything, it clicks. I let go, and nothing lets go on the dial. So I think it's because I got it on the wrong side of going to the box.
Well, the dial doesn't count down. It stays the same.
No, what I mean is I think I got it on the wrong side of where it comes out of the box.
I got you. You're not on the output correctly. Yeah.
So I think it's just one wire. It should just be.
But I have had the question, when I let go of the delay box, the numbers don't count down. I have had that question before.
No. I went out to test in the back and I let go and I'm like.
This is going to go back up. Do you remember... What was the show where they was it Pinks where they ran for their pink slips?
Oh yeah, the guy with the little bald dude. Yeah.
That funny little whatever. Rich Christensen.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you ever remember the guy from the Northwest here? I don't want to say his name because I'll throw him on the bus, but he went to. They were doing that right, and they must have tested like the week before, and he lost like the first 2 of the 3 races or 1 out of the 2 because. He'd had time in his delay box, and he'd let go, and the car would sit there, and the other guy would take off. And then it took him like 3 passes. The third pass, like, oh shit, there was a delay box. It's kind of comical.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It's like, colossal mistake.
If you got 3 seconds of delay box and you let go and you're expecting to go on green or third yellow, whatever. You ain't gonna win that race.
No, it's pretty. I think they used a pro tune. That was pretty funny. Like after about 2 passes, they realized that I think he lost his car too. on this.
Oh, he probably. Oh, yeah, because they used to do the for the car.
Yeah.
I would say I miss that show, but I don't miss it. I'm gonna leave.
I
it
think
at
the
that.
idea of the show was good. The problem is when you have shows like that you get a guy that's not a racer in it. I mean, I thought the pastime show where they put the time, I thought that was pretty good.
That was a good one. I thought
You
that
know,
was good, but
I-
everybody had a sleeper. There's
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy that had like the Fox Mustang
Oh,
or
that's
something like that
badass,
ran
yeah.
like 850s.
Yeah, it does a giant wheel, looks like a hoopty off the Burnside Bridge. It just takes that was a great show. I thought that was pretty good. I've heard all those shows are completely going away now, but I hope some of them.
They are, and speaking from experience, the problem is I hate to say it, and anybody who's been in it or is still in it or whatever, I'm sorry. I am not the person pulling the curtain back. It's all staged.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all a bunch of BS. I mean, I'm sorry. It was fun doing the stuff I did, but let me tell you, when they're coming over and a guy says, like you yell at someone because you have a genuine reaction, he goes, "Can you say that with a little more sadness in
Yeah.
your eyes?"
Yeah, I mean, like just like the American Chopper and all those shows. It's all if you just be boring, ain't nobody gonna watch this. You gotta.
Well, no, they wanted it to be. They wanted the drama.
Yeah.
They tried to create the drama. I just wanted to be. I thought it'd be cool to build cars. Anyway, if people want to find you, where do they find them? Where do we find you? Besides at your home, working in the garage.
Probably the racetrack.
Just look you up on Facebook.
Yeah,
or
just
something.
look at Facebook. Look Sandy up on Facebook. I don't do Instagram.
Your marketing team isn't in place, Paul.
No,
What's going on around here?
No, they're out to lunch. They're doing something else. They're out working on a car somewhere.
Right on.
Yeah, Facebook. Or just get my number and give me a call. I'll help anybody out with anything.
Right on.
Got enough experience and been through enough, made enough mistakes to maybe help someone with not making the mistake that.
Well, like wiring their delay box.
Yeah, we could do a whole show on wiring jobs that we've come across.
I can only imagine, buddy. I appreciate you coming by the show, spending some time, telling some stories. That's what it's all about. You can find them at Woodburn or across the country. You can find them on the new series, which I'm going to have you name one more time.
Fincher Fab Super Quick series.
There you go. Check that out. Hey, for all the people that are part of the program, we do appreciate it. We got a few people. Oh, yeah, yes. I don't know. Did anybody actually chime in, or is that just people? Well, who did?
Well, no, just one person. Vaughn Gittin Jr. was who you guys.
Vaughn Gittin Jr. Yes, gosh, you'd think I would know that. I know the guy. I didn't even know his name. Anyway, we're gonna go into. We're gonna play a little music, have some fun. I appreciate you coming by and spending time with me, man. I know that you've helped me out. You've helped me out with the car. You've helped me out with you got gas in it, and now you help me out with the show. I appreciate it, man.
I think about halfway through the year, we need to come back and do a debrief on how you're doing the first half of the year to see what you're at.
You're on. I hope to have this at Woodburn. We'll do some recorded shows at Woodburn. You're gonna come on. I'll have more microphones so Sandy can too.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good. That'll figure out where you're at in the year because you got. I mean, you've got the tools. You just got to put it all together.
I know. I'll get there. As always, thank you to our guests, Paul Nero, positive Paul Nero, the one and only best. Sorry, gotta say it. She is right. She is my pit boss, the best pit boss. I get in trouble there. The best pit boss and the best producer on the planet. This is Fuel, Unfiltered Automotive Truth. We'll see you in the next show.